Hi, and welcome to another edition of All About Franchising. A lot of people wonder, is my business franchisable? If you're an entrepreneur and you've thought about franchising your business, you may have asked this question and wondered, what's the criteria for becoming a franchise? And is my business a good candidate for franchising? Well, the short answer is yes. It's likely your business is franchisable. There are a lot of companies that would have you pay a bunch of money to put all your criteria into their franchisable computer system and see if it spits out a yes or no. But realistically, most businesses are franchisable. However, there are some things that may hinder you from being a good franchise. Some roadblocks could be extreme upfront costs and a business that's slow to grow. Another criteria that may eliminate you being franchisable would be if it would take a very long time to train someone to execute on the product or service. If training would require months and months and months for someone to become proficient, that may be a hindrance to you being a good franchise because it may lead to a lack of available personnel. Meaning, if it takes a very high skill level to produce the product or service, there's probably not going to be a lot of people to hire. So if the initial folks that were trained quit, or as the franchisee expands, they need more staff, it might be hard to find those people or get them trained up in time. Those are some things that may eliminate you from being a good franchise. Something that may determine if you would be a good franchise is a proven business model. Many ask, do I need to be in business a long time? Or do I need multiple units before I franchise? We're going to go into this in more detail in another video, but the short answer is, it's not 100% necessary to have a long-term business model to franchise. Some people have started franchises with just a concept. Some have done it with only 1 or 2 units, while some businesses have waited until they had many units before starting to franchise. A few other things to consider are, can the main product or service be learned pretty easily? Is it a simple product we can teach someone to do in a few weeks' time? Is the overall investment reasonable? Obviously, the lower the amount of the investment, the more suitors you're going to have, the more possible buyers that you could have. Also consider, can the business become profitable in a reasonable period of time? Most quality franchises need to be turning a profit in about a year to 18 months at the longest. It doesn't mean the franchisee has to be making a lot of money right from the start, but the franchisees have to be able to see the path to making money earlier than you might in your own private business. Another consideration is, can the franchisee continue to grow the profit over the years? There are exceptions to these criteria because there are businesses like mailboxes, etc., that became UPS Store where they didn't really expect there to be extremely high profits from a single unit. There are different types of franchise models and not all require strong single unit profits. Your particular business may not be a model where a prospect buys one single franchise and makes a very good living. It may be a franchise model wherein the franchisee buys 1 unit and then a second or a third over time, like a mailboxes, UPS type situation. The individual UPS store units don't make a ton of money, and if the franchisee puts in a manager, obviously they'd make a bit less. But as the franchisee goes on running the business and pays off the equipment and other debt, after about 5 years, then the profit goes up considerably. And since the UPS units don't require a lot of maintenance and are not intense to operate, it is possible to own multiple units. People would buy 2, 3, 4 of them, and then when they had them all paid off, they could sell them at a nice profit. So there are a lot of different franchise models, and the success of a franchise is not always about having the highest volume individual franchises. Sometimes people just want to be their own boss. They don't necessarily have to make a fortune to be happy with their franchise. In some cases, the franchisee may be the second or third income in a family and not as concerned with the financial aspect as they are with quality of life. So there are a lot of different flavors to franchising. Most likely your business is franchisable, as long as it doesn't run up against these major criteria points that may make it unattractive. A final item to consider is if the business requires some sort of special license that's really hard to achieve. However, if you have a special licensing requirement, it doesn't mean your business is not franchisable. Consider medical-type businesses that do require a medical license. You could still franchise and only sell to doctors in those cases, or people that have the specific type of license. So, most businesses can be franchised. If you have questions, it is best to seek out an expert and see if they can help with determining if your specific business is a good fit for franchising. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. We will be answering questions from time to time and doing videos on some of the topics in the questions. Thank you for coming to another episode of All About Franchising.